I rise to bring attention to new revelations about President Biden's nominee to head the Bureau of Land Management, Tracy Stone-Manning's involvement in a tree spiking incident in Idaho, and to share why I must oppose her confirmation. I would have welcomed having a nominee with such strong ties to Montana to be the director of the Bureau of Land Management. And until recently, I believed, as did most Montanans, that based on her testimony before the Montana State Legislature back in 2013, that her role in the tree spiking crime was minimal, her actions were helpful, and she helped bring criminals to justice. Unfortunately, new information has revealed that this simply was not the case. In fact, rather than bringing criminals to justice, Ms. Stone-Manning assisted and helped them evade justice for years. For years. I'm going to lay this out because I think it's important the facts are shared before this body. First, it reveals that she withheld the truth from investigators for several years. Second, it reveals that she harshly criticized federal law enforcement at the very same time she was refusing to tell them the truth. And third, it reveals that she has not taken responsibility or expressed remorse for not speaking the truth much, much sooner. I know many of my colleagues are probably just tuning into Ms. Stone-Manning's involvement in a tree spiking crime committed in 1989 while she was a member of an eco-terrorist group called Earth First. The picture that she and her advocates have painted about her involvement in this crime is that she was the innocent hero who helped put bad people in jail. Well, in recent weeks, we've learned there's a lot more to this story. It's very alarming, it's very disturbing on many levels. Ms. Stone-Manning stated to the Montana State Legislature that a rather frightening man approached her with a letter while she was on campus. Come to find out, that man wasn't a stranger. It was her roommate and someone who she described to the court during the 1993 trial as someone who was in her main circle of friends. Ms. Stone-Manning stated that she simply mailed the anonymous letter, that she simply mailed it. But in reality, and as we have since found out as we've explored court records in Idaho, this information had not come out, except for in the last 45 days. The investigation later revealed that this letter had not only been collaboratively composed, but after waiting for a few days, it was typed by Ms. Stone-Manning on a rented typewriter, which according to her very own testimony was because she wanted to avoid having it on her own computer and avoid having any fingerprints that could be traced back to her. The words that Ms. Stone-Manning typed and mailed are explicit. It's not what you type and send to protect people. They're what you say to frighten people. I'm going to read this letter, it's not very long, that Ms. Stone-Manning typed on a rented typewriter and personally mailed. It says, "To whom it may concern. This letter is being sent to notify you that the post office sale," now if I can add, the post office sale was a timber sale in Idaho. They described it, they labeled it the post office sale in Idaho, has been spiked heavily. The reasoning for this action is that this piece of land is very special to the earth. It is home to the elk, deer, mountain lions, birds, and especially the trees. The project required that 11 of us spend 9 days in god-awful weather conditions spiking trees. We unloaded a total of 500 pounds of spikes measuring 8 to 10 inches in length. The sales were marked so that no workers would be injured and so that you assholes know that they are spiked. The majority of trees were spiked within the first 10 feet, but many, many others were spiked as high as 150 feet. I would be more than willing to pay you $1 for the sale, but you would have to find me first, and that could be your worst, in all caps, nightmare. Sincerely, George Hayduke. And then it says, P.S., you bastards go in there anyway, and a lot of people could get hurt. This text of that letter was never made public until very recently, just in the last 45 days. And Montanans never had the opportunity to read what Ms. Stone-Manning typed on the rented typewriter and sent until just a few weeks ago. The letter is chilling, and it makes you think that if Ms. Stone-Manning was really concerned about the tree spiking, she could have gone to the authorities immediately in 1989 when this occurred. We also now know she had firsthand knowledge about the perpetrators. She knew who did it. She knew all of the details about the crime. She knew who spiked the trees. Now, by the way, why do you spike trees? Why do you put these great big spikes in the trees? That's because if a logger comes in with a saw and their blade hits it, they can be severely injured. If one of these logs comes through a sawmill, the sawmill operator can be severely injured, as has actually happened. We've had some severely injured individuals because of tree spiking. This is the eco-terrorism that was going on several years ago. But she withheld this information from law enforcement in 1989, even after she was subpoenaed by a grand jury for her hair, her handwriting, and fingerprint samples. She didn't report it to law enforcement in 1990, not in 1991, not in 1992. In fact, she condemned the FBI for investigating her in the first place, despite the fact she knew all the details of the crime. In fact, she claimed being investigated by the FBI was, and I quote, degrading, and that the, quote, government does do bad things. She compared her treatment to how the government of Panama would treat someone. Ms. Stone-Manning said all of these things and played the victim despite knowing all the details and players of the crime, despite having had the opportunity for 4 years to put bad people behind bars. What Ms. Stone-Manning did was actively obstruct an investigation. And no time, by the way, did Ms. Stone-Manning ever come forward from her own volition. Now, she only came forward after there was a break in the investigation. This is now in 1993, after another suspect identified her involvement, and after her attorney struck an immunity deal, not before she was caught. In fact, one of the men who had the opportunity to be put behind bars during the time, she remained silent. She went on to commit an act of, this man that she remained silent on went on to commit an act of domestic violence. Her cooperation with law enforcement could have prevented this. None of her actions show any kind of remorse. They didn't then, and they still don't now. Ms. Stone-Manning has not expressed regret for her false and disparaging characterization of federal investigators. This deception and misrepresentation of her involvement, coupled with her clear violation of Senate ethic rules while she served as a U.S. Senate staffer, leave the public with no reason to trust her judgment, her leadership capabilities, or her ability to remain pragmatic when making decisions on behalf of the Bureau of Land Management. Ms. Stone-Manning has lost her credibility, and to move forward with her nomination would cause more controversy and distrust for the leadership of the Bureau of Land Management, for the United States Senate, and the Biden administration. You see, there's 10,000 employees at the Bureau of Land Management that report to the director, and they need to have that trust as well. President Obama's former director of the Bureau of Land Management, Bob Abbey, has concluded that Stone-Manning's questionable past, I quote, brings what he said, needless controversy to the agency. Obama's very own director of the Bureau of Land Management said that her involvement in the tree spiking crime should disqualify Stone-Manning, and the Biden administration needs a new nominee. I agree with Mr. Abbey. Because in Montana and the West and all America, we need a director of the Bureau of Land Management that can garner public trust, bring folks together, and lead with integrity. Throughout the confirmation process, I've given Ms. Stone-Manning a fair shake, an opportunity to answer questions about important policies that impact our Montana way of life. However, over the course of the last few weeks, this new information has come to light and has led me to now actively and publicly oppose her nomination. The controversy surrounding this nomination is not and should not be about party line politics. Montanans care about trusting those in public service, about integrity. The public trust surrounding Ms. Stone-Manning has been wrecked. Her ability to be the director of the Bureau of Land Management has been compromised beyond repair. So as this nomination draws more attention, and some continue to contend that her actions were commendable, I hope all my colleagues will give full consideration to the facts I've laid out here today. I urge my colleagues, especially those that represent Western states, to join me in opposing this nomination. I would urge the Biden administration to pull Ms. Stone-Manning's nomination. Nominate someone to lead the agency that can garner public trust, and one that can lead the agency without the significant controversy. Mr. President, I yield back my time.